Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining my YouTube channel, Rothrock Roll with the Punches. Today, I have a very special guest. I'm really excited. I have the phenomenal Scott Adkins, who is a martial artist, actor, producer. Hi, Scott. So how are you?
Very well, Cynthia. It's nice to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, and also anybody who hasn't seen, you interviewed me a few weeks ago on Art of Action, so they could check that out on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, it was a brilliant interview, wasn't it? Everyone had such a great response for it. People really enjoyed it.
I know. I loved it. I loved it. So, Scott, you're in Great Britain now. You're in the UK, right? Calling from there?
I am. Birmingham, England.
Yeah. I just got asked to be a judge for a film festival over there, which technically I would be able to come over and do it, but now I have to do it all online. So, but it's still be fun.
No, I heard about this, the Fighting Spirit Film Festival.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I'm a patron of the Fighting Spirit Film Festival. In fact, Sue Cole, who you probably spoke to, she was bugging me to ask you to see if you might be part of the thing, and I forgot to do it. And then she told me today that you've agreed to be a judge, so that's really good news for me because I'm a patron of it.
Oh, good. Yes, and I will be too. So it sounds like a really fun event. So, okay, Scott, so let's start off first with how you got started in martial arts. How old were you and what style did you start with?
I was 10 years old, and my older brother and my dad were going to judo lessons. So I was the little kid, younger brother, and I felt like, I'm missing out. So I went along with them, and then I'm not sure I entirely enjoyed it. I used to hide under the chess table. I was happy to do it, and when I'd done it, I was glad I'd done it. But going there was always a bit of a thing for me. I didn't want to do it until I was there doing it. But I did that for a while, and I got to green belt. Couldn't get to blue belt back in those days until he was 16 anyway, so I got as high as I could. But then I got a bit bored of judo. And it was the ninja craze. So around the age of 12, I went and did this ninjutsu. I went to this ninjutsu school, which was at the top of a pub in Warsaw. And I don't know what that was all about, but that was something I did. And then 13 years old, I started Taekwondo. And that was great for me because, obviously I'm good with my legs, as you are. And Taekwondo is great for that. And I know you did Tang Soo Do. And I had a great instructor. It was the TAGB, the Taekwondo Association of Great Britain. My instructor was Ron Sergio. And he, out of the TAGB, was known to be like the best kicker in the country in England with the TAGB. So that was perfect for me. And he was a great instructor. He was, known for doing all the flying kicks and breaking the boards and everything. So I did that until I was around 17. I didn't get my black belt, which I regret. I left just before my black belt grading. I just got tired of the patterns of the katas, to be honest. I just got a bit tired of that. So I left, and then I went into kickboxing, which was all the rage then, with, Van Damme kicking off that craze. And I stayed in kickboxing for a long time, and Professional Kickboxing Association, got my black belt, started teaching for the PKA, and did that for many years. And, flitted about, did different stuff, some capoeira, some jiu-jitsu, some little bits of aikido, little bits of this and that, some wushu, kung fu, lots of gymnastics. At this point, knowing that I wanted to get into the film business, so just trying to pick up bits and pieces, wushu for the weapons and stuff. And now it's just like go to the MMA gym and train there with the guys and do that sort of training. So that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because I started at 13 and I didn't like it either. I didn't want to go, and my mom was forcing me to go because she says I paid for 4 months, and it was just, back in the day, it was really different. I mean, it was like you had to survive in martial art classes. It was pretty tough, and I was the only girl in the class. And then, once you start getting good and you start understanding what you're doing, it becomes your whole life. And same thing, I dabbled in so much. I'm like dabbling in like Chen Tai Chi now because I think as martial artists, we just always keep learning, and more knowledge is more better for us. So.
Yeah, the crazy thing about this pandemic is we've had a lot of time to do things, but we couldn't train martial arts, could we? Because you can't come into close contact with people. So, that's a shame because we could have got a lot of training done.
Yeah, same thing here. We still can't, no contact. Like some of the schools are able to do a little bit outside, but there's no contact. So it's basically just exercise and katas.
Yeah. And to be honest, I find it hard to train sometimes because I'm doing so many films. And then you come home and you just rehab. And, I go to the MMA gym because I have one-to-one tuition and hit the mitts. I enjoy to do that. But in terms of going somewhere new to learn something new, it's kind of difficult to do if you're working a lot. So this would have been perfect, but we haven't been able to do that, so it's a shame.
Yeah, and especially when you're doing these fight scenes, they take so much of you that when you come home, you just want to rest, go to bed, read your lines, and you don't have no time to train.
You need to go to rehab, not to learn martial arts. You need to go and repair yourself. Well, having a cheeky beer. Hope you don't mind.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm having a cheeky coffee. So there you go.
Later, yeah, though.
So now, okay, so we have the martial arts training. How did you first get involved in film?
Well, I was growing up watching Cynthia Rothrock movies, you see. I was thinking, oh.
We met when you were like a teenager, right? What were you, about 18?
20? 16, 17, 18, around that area. I can't remember. Maybe 18. The way I was dressed, I'd like to think I was younger, but maybe I was 18.
Yeah. And it was interesting, right? Because we have a good little story together, and you have that little picture of you and I that I signed, See You in the Movies. Right?
Well, this is it, you see. Big Cynthia Rothrock fan here. I mean, growing up in the 90s, what a great time for martial arts films. I mean, obviously, all the stuff you did in Hong Kong, which I didn't necessarily see until later on. But my first exposure of you was, China O'Brien and all those American movies. And I lapped it up as a teenager. And I'd made my mind up that I wanted to do what you were doing. So I was watching all your movies. And there were so many martial arts films coming out at the time. It was a brilliant time. I mean, I just thought that that's what life was. Martial art film comes out every week, but it's changed now. But back then, that was the way it was. So I knew I wanted to get into the film industry from a very young age, made my mind up, which I actually think I'm very lucky to have known from a very young age exactly what I wanted to do. I don't think most people know that, do they? And I think if you know exactly what you want in life, then that's a blessing, because most people don't. I did, and of course my parents were saying, come on, I mean, it's a tough business. Are you sure about this? My mom was supportive, my grandmother as well, my two nans, but my dad was like, son, you got to get a proper trade. I mean, come on, you got to be a butcher like me. And these days he says to me, thanks for not listening to me, son. You would have ended up grafting every day of your life. But yeah, I just knew what I wanted, and I set my goals, and I knew I had to become the best martial artist I could be and the best actor I could be. The martial arts came easier than the acting. I was very shy as a kid. I was scared to get up on the stage in front of people. I wanted to do it, but I was scared to do it. So the martial arts came easily to me. So I threw myself into that much more heavier back in the day. But eventually, I ended up going to drama school and learning the craft of acting. And yeah, I always knew what I wanted, and thankfully it worked out for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. That just shows people that if you really have a passion and you have a dream and you put all the work and the studying and, the effort into doing what you want, you can get it. For me, it was a little bit different. I never knew I wanted to do movies. I used to like to watch them, and I used to visualize myself, in a Jackie Chan movie, because he was like my idol when I was training. And, it just came to me, and I did my first movie and thought, oh, that's going to be it. What an experience, go to Hong Kong and do a movie. But then after it was over, I loved it. And I said, oh my God, this is what I want to do. So I was blessed in that way that I was competing at the time, and that's all my focus was, is to be undefeated for 5 years. I didn't really know what I was going to do after that. But luckily, I think it just, came into my path. But I love the fact, you know, that you knew what you wanted to do so early, you know, and look at like how successful you are today. That's great.
Yeah, I knew what I wanted, and I was desperate to get it as well. I mean, I was scared that it wouldn't work out for me, and that's what made me work so hard.
Yeah,
Because I think some people, you know, they get complacent, they get arrogant, they think it's easy, they don't put the work in. You need to work hard because you better believe that other people are working harder and they're going to be trying to take your place. So, you know, you've got to attack it, haven't you? You've got to go for it.
absolutely. So what was the first film that you were in?
My very first thing that I did was, so I was teaching kickboxing in Milton Keynes, which is halfway between Birmingham and London. And a guy called Tony Jordan, who was a writer for the BBC, would bring his kids to train. And he was starting to produce stuff, and he was producing this thing called City Central, which was a cop drama on Saturday night TV, BBC. And he wrote me a part in that because, you know, we got talking, told him what I wanted to do. So that was my very first experience, was on the BBC. And then I did an advert, which we don't really need to talk about. And then I got a job in a Hong Kong movie. And I never thought that I'd end up going to Hong Kong. I figured, you know, I'll go to America or something, England, whatever. But yeah, they were looking for some Western martial arts guys. And I sent my video off at the time, show reel, to Bay Logan, who I know you know because he brought you over to when I met you. And he was the guy that gave my VHS showreel to Stephen Dungway, who's the director, and they said, yeah, we want you in our film. So I flew out there and I did that. And then on the way back, it was almost Christmas, I auditioned for Black Mask 2. And they flew me back out on Christmas Day to do that. It wasn't a film, it was actually something to pre-sale the movie at Cannes, but Choi Hark directed it, and Yun Kuei was the action director, and that's the only time I've ever worked with him, and it was just for 2 days. But yeah, he put me through the ringer, that's for sure. I almost threw up.
Oh my God, I know. I think Yun Kuei is like my all-time favorite director to work with, you know, and he's just a genius. He's incredible at choreography, and I just remember his famous saying all the time was, "Cindy, hit harder, harder, harder," because he wanted you to hit hard. He wanted you to get hard, get hit hard. It was insane. But he, you know, I just loved working with him. He's like a genius. And when you were doing, how did you find shooting in Hong Kong, like doing the action there? Because it's quite different than doing it outside of Hong Kong.
Yeah, well, like you, it was my first experience of making an action film. So, I mean, I'd read all the stories, I'd read the magazines, I knew it was going to be difficult. But I've always been very happy that my first experience of making an action film was a Hong Kong movie, a few Hong Kong movies, because I learned the best way to do it. And, you know, it's a hard way to do it, and it's very taxing. And you better be fit, you better be ready, and you better be ready to go all day, right? And long hours and all the rest of it. But just to see the time and the attention to detail that they took on getting, you know, filling the frame and getting the action just right, I was able to take that into the rest of my career and know what it took to do it the best way, which I think I'm very fortunate for. I definitely paid attention, tried to learn. And especially when I recently went back there and worked with Yuen Woo-ping, man, I paid attention to see what he was doing, because I do think, I mean, they're the best. They're the best at making fights, shooting fights. There's no one better.
Yeah. And how about any injuries while you're over in Hong Kong? I had so many, but I mean, it was just like part of the course of what you do there. How about you?
I mean, I did okay. I didn't, my second Jackie Chan film that I did, I pulled my hamstring. I mean, I think I tore it, you know, it popped really badly doing a jumping front snap kick. You know, they really wanted the snap and to bring it back. And I remember my legs getting tighter and tighter because Jackie's doing something spectacular and I've just got this one kick to do, but we're doing it over and over and over again. I could feel the muscle getting tighter, and then eventually, bang, it snapped. And so I remember Jackie saying, yeah, happened to me last movie. You'll be okay.
And how was it continuing fighting with it? You know, because I've had many, like I pulled both my quads in tiger claws, like both front ones. And it was so hard to kick. And I pulled a hamstring, actually not by kicking, but I was in Thailand and I had a massage and the lady was not paying attention and she dug her elbow deep into my hamstring and I heard it snap. And then the next day I went to kick and I couldn't even lift my leg, you know, and to this day, it's still tight. So how did you continue?
Yeah, no, they were kind to me, actually. They were kind. I mean, I was one of the stunt players, really. So they were able to put somebody else in the jacket and get away with it. They let me rest. And just did stuff where you needed to see my face. I mean, they changed the choreography so I didn't have to kick anymore, you know. It was fine. It's not like I was the lead.
Yeah. And then I saw, you know what, I love the fact that you did gymnastics and you've done like anything to make, you know, your skill better for movies. And I kind of did the same thing. I was taking ballet lessons. I took gymnastics. And I tell you, I was watching like some of your fight scenes, right? And you are like the best. In my opinion, you are the best guy out there. You did a spinning kick and went into a roundhouse kick from the jump spinning kick, and it was like a split, and you were in the ring kicking the guy, and I was like, oh my God. And then the more I was watching, the more I was like, oh my God, look at the way you kick. It's just insane to me. It was like, I'm just so impressed, you know. How many times did you have to do those to get those to look like it hit? And I mean, did you just like do them and boom? Because they're so complicated and so skillful, those kicks that you do.
Well, you'll know what I'm talking about here. When you work with someone like that, kick was done against a guy called Latif Crowder, and he's a capoeira master, and he's one of the best in the business. So when I'm working with someone that's that good, he helps you out, doesn't he? Like there's another scene, you're talking about Undisputed 3, and I do that kick on him, and it was easy. And I actually landed the kick on his head, and he was fine. He had the dreads anyway, so there was a bit of padding. But there's another move in that movie where I run up the post of the ring. I run up and I do a front somersault off it, moving backwards. So I do a front somersault off it, moving backwards, land on my feet. The first take, I landed flat on my back and everyone was just silent, like, what the hell is he even going to be able to do this move? And honestly, I didn't even know for sure if I could do it. I'd only done it in the gym. But I said, no, I'm going to get this because the post was a bit slippy. Second take, I managed to do it. And I was so fortunate to have someone like Latif there to back me up, because as soon as I landed it, he was straight in with his move to complete the segment of choreography. If I was working with a lesser athlete, they probably would have messed that bit up because it wasn't easy. I mean, I might have had to have done that bit again, but that's why I like to work with people like him that are just amazing. They're going to support me, so I don't have to do as many takes and he doesn't have to do as many takes, because that's when you really get injured, isn't it? When you're working with people that don't really get it and you're doing it again and again and again.
Yeah, and that happens. It happens to me a lot. Like some of the people I have to fight aren't really that skilled. And you're exactly right. I broke a finger that way. Does that happen to you much when you're doing your films, that you're paired with people that it's really difficult to get that fluidity and that coordination together, to do the fight scene?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a nice guy. I think you can tell, and I am a nice guy, but when you're making an action film, it's tough, right? And it should be tough. It's not easy what we do, and I expect a lot of myself, and I want my films to be good, and I've got a fan base that expects my films to be good. So, sometimes you find yourself on a movie and the producers don't really get it, and they're hiring people that are cheap and they don't know what they're doing. And there has been occasions where, some of these stuntmen will turn up like they're going to have a fun day. Oh, I get to be in a Scott Adkins movie, but they don't really know what they're doing. And I'm afraid they're in for a rough day with me because I'm not happy about it. I want to be working with professionals that know what they're doing and are going to be able to make my film as good as it can be. And if they're letting the side down, I let them know about it. I turn into a bit of a tyrant because, there's a lot of expectation there. And it's not that I'm trying to be mean. I expect people to be at a certain level because, that's what my fans expect.
Right. And no matter how good you are, if the person you're fighting with isn't good and he doesn't react good or he doesn't take it, it doesn't make you look good. I've been in that situation so many times. Like we'd be shooting an action picture in Puerto Rico and they just like, oh, just get anybody. And they weren't even like martial artists. And oh my God, I was going crazy, and sometimes, I just
they think they're going to have a nice day out. Oh, we're going to be in a Cynthia Rothrock movie. It's going to be great. Yeah, all right. You're going to end up taking a front kick to the chest full force because you can't react to the punch.
I know. And I've been in situations, and actually not that long ago, where the stunt guys don't even want you to tap them. And I'm like, into the body. And you're like, oh, just put a pad on, and it's like, no, you can come this far. And I was like, but it's to the body, it's going to look better. And I don't know. It's not like,
people don't get it. They don't get it. It's not easy, and it shouldn't be. It's an action film, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, someday I know after we did the show, a lot of people were saying that they'd like to see you and I fight together.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see that too.
Pretty tough. You're pretty tough, So of all the people you fought with, like when I fought, I always say I had a really great connection with Yun Bu. It just seemed like our timing was great. We didn't have to do things over and over again. Who do you find was like one of the best people that you had to fight with, that everything just kind of went smooth?
I mean, there's a few people. I would say Kane Kasugi, who I fought in Ninja, and he's the son of Sho Kasugi, extremely brilliant martial artist, but understands film fighting. Marco Zaror, Lateef Crowder, who we just spoke about.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Brahim, who was the bad guy in Undisputed 4. There's a lot of people, when you're working with someone like Donnie Yen and Jackie Chan, the timing is just there. I'm trying to be as good as they are. I mean, to be honest, it's a bit more stressful because you want to be as good as they are. You know what I mean? But when it's someone like Kane or Marco or Lateef, we're on a level playing field, and I can relax a bit more. It's a bit stressful with Donnie Yen and Jackie Chan, I must be honest. But I'm probably leaving people out. I've worked with a lot of talented people. Jeremy Marinas, I'm forgetting people. But yeah, I've worked with a lot of pros that are really good.
Did you have input on your movies, who you want to fight with? I mean, I don't, but so you can say, I don't want to fight that person, or do you check them out to see what their skills are? Or do you kind of tend to work with people you're going to have a good fight scene with?
Yeah, there's people I've already worked with that I want to work with again because I know we've got a good relationship. They're nice people and they're going to work hard. And then there's people that I'm seeing out there that I respect and think, oh, I'd love to work with him at some point. And, maybe I've got a film coming up and, hopefully we're going to do Accident Man 2 soon. And I've written the script with Stu Small, and I've got an idea of who I want to play those parts, some more assassins. And I'm thinking of martial arts actors and things like that, because obviously it's all about the fights. Yeah. I've got my wish list.
Oh, so who would you like to work with that you haven't? Like, who would be like your top 2 people?
I'm very lucky. I've got to work with a lot of people. I'd like to work with you, Cynthia.
There you go. Okay, yeah.
I've worked with a lot of people. I think Bren Foster's very good. Do you know who Bren Foster is?
I don't think I do.
Well, he's an impressive martial arts actor that not a lot of people know about, but he's very good.
Oh,
and he's got a very aggressive style. He's an Australian guy. He's good, and someone I haven't worked with. I think Alain Moussi, that has took over the Kickboxer franchise. He's a great stunt performer, martial artist. He's very good at the choreography and flips and tricks. And I've pretty much worked with everyone else. I mean, apart from the guys that are probably too old now, like, Yun Bu and Sammo Hung, a bit old now, aren't they, I suppose?
Well, if you're older, we still could do it.
Yeah.
They're older than me.
You know what I mean?
That's always good when someone's older than me. I'm like, oh, I'm the youngest one here. Yay.
Yeah.
I have a few questions from some people that knew I was going to interview, and one of the questions were, if you could play a historical figure on film, who would that be?
That's a tough question, Cynthia. That's a tough question.
All right, you gotta think.
Historical figure. Bloody hell.
Not that you've been thinking about that all the time.
I'm trying to think of someone who's, a martial artist or something like that. I keep getting people keep telling me I should play Andy Hug because I look like him, and I'm not sure my axe kick is as good. Historical figure, I really don't know. I really don't know. I would love to make a film that's set in the times in England when it was like Stand and Deliver, The Highwayman, Stand and Deliver, that sort of setting. It's kind of like the era of the Musketeers, but in England, 17th century or something. That kind of intrigues me. But also I would like to do a medieval movie and play like a knight.
Yeah.
In terms of a historical figure, well, let's say King Arthur then.
Yeah.
Let's go for King Arthur, because I'd love to do a medieval film, and King Arthur is the most famous example of that sort of history. I mean, it's not real history, but it's it's part of British sort of fairy tale history.
Yeah, I kind of tend to like actually things I want to do with things that's you're not dressed normally. Like medieval would be great. Horror. I've always wanted to do play like a vampire or zombie or something like that. Anything that doesn't make it me, it's different, other than a typical, fight.
Well, I've got a great idea for an action horror, which I'm working on. So hopefully we'll get to do that at some point. It's in the head right now. Just got to get it out.
Yeah, because that the horror genre and also the martial arts, they kind of cross over. Yeah, I found that people that like horror films also like action films too. So if you put the two together, how awesome is that?
Well, great example of that was Blade. I mean, that was a great film.
Yeah.
That was wicked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So tell us something that your fans don't know about you.
Well, I play the guitar, and I like to have a sing. And I'm not very good, but I enjoy it. So that's something of a hobby for me.
Oh.
And I don't think many people would know about that.
Oh, good. Well, since we've been in COVID, I started taking piano lessons online, trying to do that because I thought it was some good way to pass the time. And, you're learning. I'm not too good either, and I cannot sing at all.
And does it work well online? Are you getting good?
It was, yes, it did work. But the one thing that bothered me with the piano, if you didn't hit the right, piano is a little more complicated than you think. If you don't hit the right key, it sounds different to the app, right? And I'm hitting it and hitting it, and it just would say I wasn't doing it right, and I had to keep repeating myself over and over and over again. So that was the only annoying part about me, and I'd get so mad, and I'd be banging it like this just to try to get past where I was, and it just wasn't hearing it right. So I don't know.
You're not supposed to be ridge-handing the piano, Cynthia.
I know.
That's for the other hobby.
I know. Yeah, exactly. All right. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you could just kind of, just for the fun of it, give us some one-word answers. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite food?
I'm going to say Crunchy Nut cornflakes with milk. I'm sorry. I love them.
Okay. What is your favorite movie?
I have to say Jaws. I mean, there's many movies that I love, but Jaws is the best movie ever made.
Ah, good.
Jaws.
Favorite book?
I'm just going to show people how I'm not very well read. I mean, I like the Lord of the Rings books, but honestly, one of the best books I ever read, and it had a massive impact on me, I just thought it was great, is a book called Watch My Back from this guy called Jeff Thompson, who was a bouncer in Coventry. And I just found the book fascinating because almost every chapter was a fight that had happened to him whilst working the doors in Coventry, and it's a true story. But I just found that I found it fascinating. That book really made an impact on me. So,
Great.
watch my back.
Your favorite actor?
Yeah, it's Gary Oldman.
Oh yeah, I love him.
Yeah, he's the best. Him and Anthony Hopkins, for me, are the best actors.
Actress?
Well, I always liked Sandra Bullock. Always liked Sandra. So yeah, Sandra Bullock.
Favorite vacation spot?
I love Thailand.
Thailand, okay.
Yeah.
Someplace that you would like to travel that you haven't been to?
I want to go to Hawaii.
You've never been to Hawaii? Oh, that's
Never been. It's so far from England. It's the other side of the world almost. Yeah. You got to get to America and then get a connecting flight to Hawaii, and that's another 6 hours, right? Yeah. So for us over here, it's very far away.
Your favorite car?
Oh, I keep going back to the Audi. I've got an Audi. It's a very dependable, comfortable car. I don't want anything too flashy, so Audi suits me fine.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking I have a Rubicon Jeep, and I want to get the Charger, the truck. It's like, not too flashy for me either, but more sporty. Your favorite candy?
I have to think about this. Well, I love a nice Kit Kat. You know what a Kit Kat is? Do you have Kit Kat in America?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course we do. Very popular, and it's funny when you travel foreign, when you're outside the United States and you're in the airport, they have like 20 different Kit Kat flavors. Do you have that over in England? I mean, there's so many of them.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't see it here.
Big Kit Kat. Kit Kat big. But I've got the food that kills me. I love cereal. I know it's bad for you. I love it though. That's my weakness. I'll go through 4 bowls of Crunchy Nut in a night. I mean, try not to, but if I've lost it one night, if I'm doing some emotional eating, I'll be going for those Crunchy Nut cornflakes. Oh, I love them.
Yeah, mine is potato chips. I could eat like a whole bag of potato chips if I need an emotional thing. But I know, sometimes, when we're preparing for a film, we try to lose a few pounds or so. And then you deprive yourself. And then you have that box of cereal and you just keep pouring it in and pouring milk in, pouring it in, pouring milk in. It's like you can eat like a whole box. But speaking of weight, okay, what it's hard to tell with your shirt on and stuff here. But my God, you were really big and buffed in Undisputed. Did you work out pretty hard? I mean, like to get that, it was pretty.
Yeah. Well, I've big fan of Van Damme and Schwarzenegger and Stallone growing up. So I was no stranger to the gym and I was in pretty good shape anyway. But when I got the part of Boyka, and I knew I was going to be opposite Michael Jai White, who's taller than me and much bigger than me, I thought, well, I'm going to be the villain to this guy and he's the hero. I need to build myself up. So I had about 8 months to get ready for it. And I just, took it to the next level and trained very hard. And then, of course, I kept playing Boyka again and again. So I keep having to get back to that size. Honestly, I don't like being that big. I mean, I like the way it looks and I feel cool and, but the other side is it's more difficult to do your martial arts. You don't feel as fast. You don't feel as agile. It's harder to do the athletic movements, the gymnastics and all the rest of it. So that's not my natural weight. I don't feel comfortable at it. But I like the way it looks, but it's hard to maintain. It's hard to maintain. I mean, if I was only a bodybuilder, it'd be fine. But, when you're doing all the martial arts as well, it's difficult to maintain it.
All right. So to get to that position, what was your diet like? What were you eating?
Well, just eating chicken breasts and, rice and potato and just clean, balanced meals, but more of it and just hitting the heavy weights. And when you're young and you're in your 20s, early 30s, you can throw these heavy weights around and you're going to repair and you're going to be able to go back in the next day and keep doing it. Like as you get older, I realized, my joints have took quite a pounding from the weight training and of course all the punching and all the rest of it. But it's harder now to lift those heavy weights. It's it's took its toll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite
dessert?
Dessert, yes.
So I like stodgy stuff. I like apple pie with custard and treacle pudding and things like that. I enjoy good cake. My wife is an amazing cook and she bakes amazing cakes as well. And the kids are very lucky for that. And sometimes it's difficult to stay in shape. And I enjoy my food. I do. I like to eat. I like to stuff my face. Yeah.
How old are your kids?
So I've got a 2-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl.
Oh, what does the 9-year-old girl think of you doing film?
She's not bothered. She's just not impressed at all.
Yeah.
It's just something that does.
Yeah, my daughter just never really, she was in 6th grade. I guess she was 12. And I used to take all the pictures for the school. And so they just thought I was a photographer. They didn't know who I was, most of the people. And then one day they were showing them at an assembly and they said, yeah, Skylar Rothrock, her mom, she's a famous martial artist. And the little boy turned around, looked at her and goes, I didn't know your mom was Jackie Chan. And she looked at him and went, Jackie Chan's a boy. But
how old's your daughter?
She's just turned 21. She just turned 21. And now she kind of, they come around at a certain age. I had a t-shirt that had my picture on and she liked it. And I went, oh my God, I know it's going to be a success because my daughter liked it and she'd wear it. Right. And I said, what do you do when people say, who's that on your shirt? She goes, oh, I just say it's someone famous. She wouldn't never admit what I did, so it was funny. But now she's changed, now I'm trying to, it's like pulling teeth to trying to get her in one of my films, It's like, oh, well, how much are they going to pay me? I'm like, oh my God, really? It's crazy. But
kids these days, they grow up with the iPhones and all the technology, and it's so easy to film yourself and put it on the TV and watch it and put special effects in there and everything. I don't think they're as, they're not as amazed by it as we were when we were growing up. I don't think. She doesn't seem bothered about it at all. But I've got a sci-fi movie coming out, and I showed her the trailer, and we were in space, in a spaceship firing laser guns, and she thought that was cool.
What's your favorite music?
I like rock and roll. Oasis is my favorite band, British rock and roll band. I don't know if you heard of them.
Oasis? No, I don't think so.
No? Oh, come on, Cynthia. They're the best.
I'll check it out for sure. And
Two Mancunian brothers copied the Beatles. Two Mancunian brothers from Manchester. Amazing stuff.
Pet peeve. What's your pet peeve?
What do I detest in people?
Yeah, well, whatever. People, situations,
That's another tough question. I'll take another sip of my beer, which won't help me think. I don't like noisy people. People that, like, if you're somewhere and someone's typing on the laptop and they've got like a load of bangles on, and it's just noise for no reason. That sort of stuff does my head in. I just think, be quiet.
Your favorite animal?
I like dogs.
Dogs. Do you have any?
No, because I go away a lot, and I don't think it's fair to have an animal, because the family comes away as well. But we had a lot of dogs in my parents' house growing up.
I have 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and when I travel, I have someone that takes care of them. But I think because I wasn't home, that they all kind of form their own little, family, so they're all happy together. But it's a lot of work. A lot of work. Your favorite drink? Beer.
Beer. Well, yeah, I like a beer, yeah. I like a beer.
What kind?
Very English of me.
What's your favorite kind?
Well, at the moment, I'm on the Camden Pale Ale, sponsored by Scott Adkins. But I like, just a lager. A lager.
Did you ever hear of
Simple.
Rolling Rock beer? It's from Pennsylvania.
Say it again?
Rolling Rock.
No.
It's from Pennsylvania, and my dad always drank it, so he loves it. So Pennsylvanians love it, but you'll have to check it out and see if you could get it over there.
I saw you were, I think it was a recent picture, you were at the Rocky Steps recently.
Oh, yeah.
Is that an old picture, or was that recent?
No, that was recent. Yeah, my mom was in rehab for spinal cord injury. She was in Philadelphia, so every chance I would get, I would go out and try to do something fun. Like visiting hours were from a certain time. So I was like, I've been to the Rocky thing, but I had to do it again. Went to the museum, went to a really crazy, it was called the Mutter Museum. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Philadelphia. It's things from the 18th century, where experiments went wrong, and they have all these really I don't know, I guess this is just my side of me that it's very interested in anything, but they would have twins that were together, conjoined together, and all these abnormalities, and they have it there for people to learn from, how to, it was bizarre but interesting.
I'll go there after I've run those Rocky Steps.
Oh yeah, have you been there?
No, I'd love to go because I'm a big Rocky fan.
Yeah. And my last question, your favorite martial art move? What's the favorite that you like?
I mean, you can't beat a back kick. Back kick is when you put that back kick in, just feel it connect properly. It's a beautiful feeling because it's such a powerful kick, isn't it? And then of the more spectacular ones, my signature kick is the Guyver kick. So I do like that one. It's very pretty to see on screen, and you can make it look great. The one where you miss and then hit with the other leg and you land on your back.
Oh yeah.
When people do it now, they land on their feet. I'm not flexible enough in my right leg to do that. But yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah,
I just actually finished shooting a film a couple days ago, and we were doing the big scene, and it was just a spinning back kick, and the guy was going to go into this big cardboard boxes and stuff, and they didn't want to reset him. And I couldn't believe the guy asked me, he said, "You think you could do this in one take? Because we don't want to reset him." I said, "It's just a spinning back kick. Of course I can. I'm not going to do something spinning around and this." And they were like, "Oh, because we could break it up." I said, "No, I could hit him perfectly with the spinning back kick."
Yeah, of course you can.
You know what? Okay. Oh yeah, and I do have one more.
Said, "Do you know who I am?"
I know, right? I know. But your favorite female action star?
Cynthia Rothrock. And I'm not even joking. I'm not even just saying that because I'm talking to you. That is a fact. You're the best to have ever done it.
Oh, thank you.
You're the best.
Yeah. Thank you. And what do you have upcoming? I think you told me that you're going to be here in America soon, shooting something.
Yeah, so I was doing a film with Dolph Lundgren called Castle Falls in Birmingham, Alabama. And then we got shut down when COVID started. That was mid-March. I came back. So fingers crossed, we're all set to, continue shooting. And in a couple of weeks, I should be getting on the plane to go to America. I have to get off the plane and be tested and then quarantine until the results come in. And, hopefully, fingers crossed, I haven't got it. And if I have, I suppose I'll quarantine for even longer. I don't know. But yeah, very much looking forward to working again. It's been over 6 months. So. Yeah,
I know. It's like I had to take all these COVID tests to go visit my mom, and you get nervous, even though you don't have symptoms, but,
Did they thing up the nose?
Yeah, to both sides they did it. But you know,
Is
you
that
hear
uncomfortable?
all these things. You know what? It really wasn't that bad. I've heard like people going, "Oh my God, it's the worst thing ever." And you know, my someone said, "Oh, you only have to do one side. You know, if they get enough, you know, mucus or whatever they have to get." So I was thinking, "Oh, just one." And then they did two on my side. I was lucky. My mom only had one done, but it's just annoying. It just feels like, you know, you want to sneeze or something. It's not like they jam it up there and go all the way up into your eye socket or something. You know, it's just yeah, it's really not that bad. So yeah, it's just like, oh, I hope it's negative, you know. So
Yes, the mind starts to play tricks on you.
yeah, well, maybe you're going to get a chance to go anywhere else after shooting if you come when you come and go to Atlanta. You're going to be able to go to Philadelphia and go to those Rocky Steps.
I might go up to LA just to take care of some business. I
Yeah.
don't know yet, but it might be worth doing it. Put my head in a few places, see a few people. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, well, good.
We'll see.
In my area.
Yes. Where do you live in LA? Roundabout.
Yeah, I live in Ventura County, right? Like in the beginning of Ventura County. So if you were like saying from Beverly Hills, I'm about an hour north of Beverly
Oh,
Hills.
okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
same, you know, from Hollywood, same thing. So yeah, but when you
Yeah.
come, everything's like an hour away, and it's insane though, because normally it would take me 2 hours to get to Beverly Hills, at least 2 to 2.5 hours, and now I could do it in an hour because, you know, traffic isn't as brutal as usually it is here in LA. So yeah. So before we wrap it up, do you have any well, I guess you had advice for people, and I think that was the greatest, you know, that when you have your passion, or, you know, for people that so many, I think, martial artists that I meet want to be in pictures, but what advice, other than, you know, really your passion, what would you tell them to do if they wanted to you know, get in film and say their technique was pretty good?
It's changed. When you were at the height of your fame, martial arts films were everywhere. And I was growing up seeing that, thinking, well, that's the way it's going to be. But of course, when it was my time to break through, the typical martial arts star, action star, was falling out of favor, because there was a time in the 80s and early 90s when normal people couldn't do what we can do, because they weren't inclined to train that way. And then, you know, someone physical like Van Damme and Dolph, you know, maybe their acting wasn't that good, but it didn't matter because they were bringing something else to the table. But now the stunt industry has got to the point where they can take actors and they can train them up to look very, very convincing on screen. And you've got all the superhero movies. So you've got the stuntmen in the costumes. And then, you know, like Charlize Theron is an action star, Keanu Reeves. And I take my hat off to all these guys because they do put the work in and they do a great job. But what I'm saying is, these days, if you want to be an action star, you need to be an actor first and a martial artist second, or an actor first and a bodybuilder second, you know, all that stuff. It's all about the performance. Just become an actor. Just be the best actor that you can be, and have martial arts as another string to your bow, as well as riding a horse, as well as all the rest of it. And sure, be the best martial artist you can be. But the days of just getting through with martial arts skill are long gone. And I had to learn that lesson. And there was a time in the early 2000s where I realized, you know, if I don't pull my socks up and become a much better actor, it's not going to happen for me, because things have changed. You know, Matt Damon was Jason Bourne and The Matrix had happened. You know, things had changed. So that's my advice for people that want to get into action films is, you got to be an actor. And that's that. Either be an actor or be a stuntman, because there's no in between anymore.
Good advice. Well, thank you so much, Scott, for coming on my YouTube channel. It was a pleasure, always pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to the day to seeing you in person again.
I can't wait to see you in person, Cynthia, again. And let me just say it again, you are the best female martial artist to ever do it, in my opinion. I mean, when you burst onto the scene, still to this day, I don't see girls, women, kicking with the power and the skill and the precision that you did. You were and are the full package, and you're still a huge inspiration to me.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. And I think you're the greatest. And everybody check out your YouTube channel, right? Art of Action. It's awesome. And yeah, I guess that's it. So hope you get come to America, that everything is good. And I'll catch you soon.
When I'm in LA, we'll get some dinner if we can. That'd be great.
That sounds great. Really good. Okay. Well,
Okay.
thank you, Scott.
Cynthia, thanks for having me. See ya.
Bye. Hi, this is Cynthia Rothrock. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. And if you like the videos, please put a like on it and refer it to your friends.